Hello everybody and welcome to Edgeshed. Today I have got a Guild Wars 2 video for you on why you should play it in 2019. And this video is quite important for myself because I've only just come back to the game. I'm actually coming back to the game, and this really is the reasons that I've come back to it, and the reasons that I think other people should come back to it, and the reasons that maybe if you haven't picked it up before, you should pick it up now. It's still a great game and really is, in my opinion, top of its class for MMORPGs that are out there at the minute. Now, the reasons I've been away are way too long to get into in this video, but suffice to say I'm kind of coming back to it. I'm starting to play it again. Hopefully starting to make videos on it again, and I wanted to go through sort of the reasons I'm so excited to get back into it. Now I'll kick things off with a reason that isn't sort of something that's driven me, but is something that maybe if you haven't picked it up before, why I think it's such a great time for you to get into it, and that's because of the fact that it is free to play now. I mean, you can literally play the base game that I've sank hundreds of hours into for free. Like, sure, there are some limitations and restrictions on it, such as who you can and can't send mail to, who you can and can't whisper, and under what time periods, and you can't use Lion's Arch until you're level 35. There's like little quality of life things such as that are taken out of the free-to-play game, but there's still the base game there, which you can sink hundreds of hours of your time into and is so worth playing. If you're on the fence, just get it. You've got nothing to lose, and I promise you'll enjoy it. Now, with that being said, to hopefully try and tempt some new players into the game, I want to talk, as I say, about the reasons that I'm excited to be coming back to it in 2019, and the reason that I'm hoping to spend a lot of time in it, and the things that I think really make this just a world-class game. So, firstly, the combat in this game is better than any other MMORPG. I'm just going to go out there and say that. I haven't, as a caveat, played every MMORPG. I've played quite a lot of them. And there is something about the satisfaction of the way you can dodge and the feedback you get from your spells and abilities that is just unlike other MMORPGs. Like, in stuff like Elder Scrolls Online, if you knock somebody back, you kind of just feel like the game moves that person backwards, the set amount, however far it is. It just moves them that distance. In this game, when you have a centaur running at you and you're playing a guardian and you whack it with your hammer and send it, and it can be a boss, as long as you time it right so that the boss has lost its stability, you time that just right and you see him bounce across the floor, that is a brilliant experience. And when you're playing with friends and stuff, it's the kind of moment that you actually chat about, and you don't get that in other MMORPGs. As I say, with the Elder Scrolls Skyrim, you knock somebody back and people are just like, oh, he's moved. In Guild Wars 2, you're playing with your friends and you whack somebody, it feels different. It has this visceral quality to the combat. Visceral's maybe the wrong word, but it has this actual feedback to the combat that is just exceptional, and you just don't get in other MMORPGs. The next thing that I'm sort of really excited to be getting back into is the PvP. And I love the PvP in Guild Wars because it's so easy to just pick up and jump into, and yet it has so much depth to it. For instance, with the PvP in Guild Wars 2, there's the sort of meta, or not meta, but there's the need to read what your enemy is about to do based on the animation that's being queued up. So you need to, you actually need to develop skills to read what your enemy is about to do, and then to get ready to counter it or to use blocks. And then there's the whole meta of baiting people into using their blocks or to know what build they're using. It's completely different to other games where it generally comes down to a spreadsheet. In a lot of other games, winning at PvP is a spreadsheet formula of, if I hit these skills at this time, I will win because numbers say so. Guild Wars 2 is very different because you've got things such as the evade mechanic, because you've got things such as playing those mind games with your opponents. There's the need to stay one step ahead of them. There's the need to use terrain to maneuver out the way of them. It just takes PvP to an entirely different level to what you get in other games. And World versus World is very much the same in that regard. Like, if I'm being entirely honest, I think maybe Elder Scrolls Online, and I'll quote that quite a lot because I've played a lot of Elder Scrolls Online, maybe kind of does like the big server battles a bit better, but there's just something fun and satisfying about the World versus World environment in Guild Wars 2 that you don't get in other games. You can be having huge 100-player versus 100-player battles, even more, and it still feel very fun and friendly and accessible. And I know a lot of people complain that like the visual effects can be a bit too much in Guild Wars 2, but I personally think that they are quite easy to read, and there's a lot of telegraphing to what's going on the battlefield. You get a lot, once you've played it for a while anyway, you get a good sense for just what's happening, where it's happening, and you get a real great sense of the situation, and your situational awareness can really pick up on the little tells in the environment, which you just don't get in other games. And that's why I'm sort of so excited to be coming back to the PvP side of things in this game. I'm also really looking forward to finally being able to invest the time to get like the Griffin mount and the other mounts that I've missed out on, and to fill in sort of all the masteries that I've missed. And if maybe you haven't played the game before, or you have only ever played the base game, you've also got gliders to look forward to, and these things are just incredibly fun. Like the mounts that I've got, you know, like the Springer and the Raptor and stuff like that. They are fun mounts. They do fun things. It is great jumping into a pile of low-level bandits on a Raptor and just sucking them all in with your tail and just being able to unleash all your abilities on them. It is a really fun mechanic. And I have spent a considerable amount of time exploring places like Divinity's Reach on the back of the Springer, which is like the rabbit, and using the other mount. But you can get to places that you really shouldn't, and it is fun. It is fun to climb things in Divinity's Reach that you're not supposed to be climbing. And that sense of being able to kind of get to places that you're not meant to, and I'm certain that the devs know that people get to these places, and they don't seem to mind, because I think they understand that it is part of the joy. It's something that people like me, I love to explore in games. It's something that can be really enjoyable. You can spend hours and hours of your time just climbing up buildings that you're really not supposed to be climbing up, and it's fun. And it's fun as well when you see people who've got to these ridiculous places and you go, why? Why have you spent 2 hours climbing to the top of the highest place in Divinity's Reach, you know? And it is stuff like that I love about the game. I love the sense of exploration and the fun you can have in the game, which is really different to other games. It gives you tools to make your own fun. And that's something that you've got to look forward to if you haven't played it, or if you're coming back to it. You can really get involved in it. Kind of similar to the mounts is like the masteries, not from like a fun point of view, but from being able to really customize your hero and to keep progressing. That's something I'm looking forward to finally being able to do, to get better abilities on your mounts, to be able to get all these other like perks and bonuses from it. So I'm really looking forward to, I'm going to say, grinding out the masteries, although I've never ever felt with anything in Guild Wars 2 that it is too much of a grind. But I'm looking forward to getting really stuck into the mastery system and being able to finally finish off a lot of the bits that I've started. The next thing for me is collections. Like I'd started collecting the items for the pistol, the legendary pistol, which I can't remember the name of. It was the second one that came out. And as I say, I started the collection, and I loved the fact that it was such a scavenger hunt where I was going out and I was killing different fish to get their teeth and doing all these other things that you can do. And that sense of actually going out and exploring things and finding the rare materials to build your legendary weapons is it's really fun. I get a lot of enjoyment out of building up those collections. I'm not an achievement hunter, but for other people who are, you've also got a huge amount of achievements to look forward to collecting. But for me, actually filling in these collections, I do get enjoyment out of. Probably a similar kind of enjoyment to what people who love achievement hunting get. But for me, I'm really looking forward to finally finishing off these legendaries and to have done the scavenger hunt. I always found with the original legendaries, it became too tempting to just go to a trade post and buy the various items that you needed if it became too hard to find them. Actually having stuff that you need to go and complete, I find a lot more rewarding, like tracking down a particular animal, killing them, getting such and such from it. I find that so much more engaging as a game mechanic, and I think if you enjoy achievement hunting as well, you're probably going to enjoy that mechanic of collecting things to build up your legendary or to build up whatever else you're after. Then there's fractals and raids and dungeons. Like for me, I've done all the dungeons quite a few times. I'm probably not going back to them in all honesty. But the fractals I still get a lot of enjoyment out of doing, and a lot of enjoyment out of building up like agony resistance. And I cannot wait to finally get properly stuck into raids and to doing the various raids to completion. That it seems such a rewarding experience, and I started raids before I needed to sort of like leave the game for a time, and I cannot wait to finally get involved with groups who actually can complete them. And I think when you watch people who do complete the raids, you can tell that every single time they do it, there is a sense of achievement and completion to having been able to beat these very difficult bosses. There is a lot going on the screen at any given time in a raid, and the raid bosses hit like absolute tanks. So having that level of challenge to actually go out and try and conquer is something that I think if you like a challenge and you like to actually master a game, and again, it's not a question of just getting the best gear, it's a question of actually understanding what's going on. If you love that challenge, if you like playing, like I loved playing Guitar Hero, if you love that kind of thing, you're probably going to love the raids, because you actually have to get better. It's your skills that need to get better in order for you to be able to do them. And I find that incredibly rewarding. I find that a great reason to actually play the game. I don't like just being better because on paper I'm now level whatever. I don't find that rewarding. I find it much more rewarding when I go, I couldn't do that before. I had exactly the same gear, but I couldn't do it before. I must have got better. That is a great sensation for me, and I'm looking forward to finally getting that in raids. So that kind of concludes my reasons I'm coming back to Guild Wars 2, and sort of some reasons that I really think that other people should give it a try or come back if you've had to take a break from it. I think that you're going to really enjoy it. I've been able now to spend some time again on it, and you can probably tell from the way I'm speaking, I'm really excited to be back in the game, and I genuinely love this game. I have such a huge passion for it, and it is such a pleasure to get some time to play it. And I think that if you just give it a go, you spend a few hours with it, you'll see why it has such fierce fans such as myself with the game. There's plenty of other reasons if you're brand new to it to play as well. There's getting your first legendary, there's playing with your friends, there's the fact there's no gear grind, there's all the specializations. There's a list where I could stretch this video out for half an hour or so, but I don't want to. I want to really speak about the things that are really driving my passion for this game at this point. And so I'm not going to just churn up a huge long list of stuff. There's plenty of other YouTubers that have got the big long list of all the many reasons you should play it, but hopefully you can tell from, you can hear it in my voice that I really care about this game. I really love it, and I think that you will as well if you give it a chance. If you come play it in 2019, you're gonna get a lot of value out of it. You're gonna love that game. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Please do like and subscribe, and I will see you soon for more Guild Wars 2 content.